Hello, welcome to episode 120 in the Datapack tutorial series version 1.21. We're going to be making Floo powder, but with coordinates. So, Floo powder from Harry Potter, the stuff you throw in the fire, and then you can teleport somewhere. We did a command block only version of this, but you had to write a name and then it would check names. But what we're going to do is we are going to write coordinates. So I've got a piece of paper and I've literally just put some coordinates on it. You can see we've got 9, 56, 5. We throw it into a lit campfire. Ooh! And then we jump on. And off we go. There we go. It's that simple. It doesn't work on an unlit campfire. And this one has been renamed to just renamed. Now we will get the effects, but it doesn't actually teleport us anywhere. And this one is just a normal piece of paper. Does nothing. Okay. So that's what we're going to be making. This one was, well, it's similar to a suggestion by Noel. And their idea is you have a door and you throw the paper into the door and it creates a portal between two places. And at the other end, it creates another door and then you can just teleport between. And I thought that's pretty cool. I like that idea. I'll start with something a little bit simpler first. So this doesn't create a portal. It literally just teleports you to the place. It doesn't check if that place is safe. That is, well, if it's Harry Potter, then you know what it's like. Nothing's safe. You might get squished at the end. That's your fault for not checking. So I've done this simpler version. And I thought, well, maybe if I get this working okay, then I could work on Noel's idea, which was, you know, linking two doors together, which I thought that's pretty cool. Like a permanent portal. Anyway, enough waffling. Let's get on and build it now. Okay, here we are in VS Code. Let's have a look at what I've added. Inside my namespace, inside the folder function, I've added the folder Floo. And inside there we have effects, pre-teleport, process paper on campfire, process paper, teleport macro, and teleport. We'll be using those, and we'll be using the tick function. And also, inside my namespace, I've added the folder predicate, and we have two predicates we're going to use as well. We don't need a give because it is just ordinary renamed paper. So let's start with the tick function. Check for unchecked paper items in the world. Okay. Now, the reason we want to do this is, let's say we got a renamed piece of paper and we throw it on the floor. We don't want to keep checking it. We only want to check it once. So we'll do execute as any entity whose type equals item, whose tag equals not checked. If item entity at s contents paper. So if it's not a piece of paper, well, we're not doing anything else. If it is a piece of paper, we'll keep going. Run function process paper. Okay. And we also need to check for players who have already thrown a piece of paper and they're about to be teleported. So we'll execute as, oh, actually we'll just do at any entity whose type equals item, whose tag equals in fire, as all players whose distance equals less than, let's say 1.5, that seems alright. Run function pre-teleport. Okay, that seems alright. Let's move on. I think we'll move on to process paper, but for this I'm going to need two predicates. We want the on campfire and we want on ground. So let's pop over to Misode and do those. I'm already in the predicate generator. Okay, so let's do entity properties. Entity is this. Predicate will be stepping on. They're stepping on a block. The block will be a string and we'll have campfire. Only campfire. We don't want sole campfire. We don't want both campfires. Only campfire. And I want to check its state as well. It has to be lit. So it has to be a lit ordinary campfire. Okay. Let's copy that. Take that and put that into our on campfire predicate. Save. Now let's do on ground as well. Let's do a full reset. There we go. So we'll check entity properties, entity this, predicate will be, in fact, actually we can just check a flag for on ground. We can do flags is on ground. There we go. Now we know it's on the ground. Let's copy that. Take that back and put it into on ground. Okay. Nice. Right, let's move off to process paper. So, the paper's been thrown on the floor or on a fire. Tag the paper item and exit the function if it doesn't have a custom name. Okay, so if it hasn't been renamed, no point doing anything else. We'll just tag it with checked and then we'll never check it again. So let's do that. Execute if items entity at s contents, no, contents please, contents paper, because only paper can get this far anyway, and we'll say no, doesn't have Minecraft custom name, run, return. But before we exit the function, run tag at s add checked. Okay, so it hasn't been renamed, but it is paper. We'll add check to it, and then it's never going to be checked again. Cool. Process renamed paper items that are on a campfire. So if it's landed on a campfire, we want to carry on then. So we'll do execute if predicate on campfire at s run return run. So we're going to do something. We're going to exit the function, but we're going to do something first. We're going to call another function, process paper on campfire. But if it lands on the ground, we're still going to be targeting it. We don't want to. So let's do execute if predicate on ground run tag at s add checked. Okay, so if the paper doesn't have a name, we will exit the function and tag it with checked so it never gets checked again. If it does have a name and it's on a campfire, we will continue on to the next function. If it does have a name and it's on the ground, we will tag it as checked so it never gets checked again. The player could just pick it back up again and throw it on a fire, so that's no problem. Okay, let's move off to process paper on campfire then, I think. So, tag the paper. It's in the fire now. Tag at s add in fire. Let's set a pickup delay so the player can't pick it back up again. Data modify entity at s pickup delay. Set a value to the highest value, 32767. That should mean it's not counting down, so it should never be picked up ever. So now it's just sitting in the middle of the fire, which is quite handy really, because we can use that as a distance check for the player later. Well, actually, it's not sitting in the middle of the fire. It's sitting wherever it landed. And I don't want that. I want it to be a bit tidier. So later on, we'll actually move it to the middle of the fire. But let's play a sound as well. Play sound. Fumph. I use blaze normally for that fumphy sound. Blaze ambient? No, blaze shoot. Where's blaze? Here we go. There we go. Blaze shoot. Can I put a Minecraft on the front of that? Yeah, we'll use namespaces. Let's be good. Let's use the namespace. Okay, play sound, blaze shoot. Let's play it. Well, doesn't really matter which channel you pick. Just take into account that people can obviously shut off their channels and put the volumes lower. I'm just going to play. Let's say the player's doing it. No, let's say the block. It's the campfire. Let's say we'll put it on block. And we'll play it for all players at those coordinates. Let's make it a little bit quieter though. 0.8. Let's change its pitch a bit. 0.4. Minimum volume of 0. That'll do. Now we're going to change the campfire. So it's going to change from a nice, ordinary, normal orange campfire to a magical blue campfire. So we'll execute a line on the X, Y, and Z. And we will run set block those coordinates to a soul campfire. Minecraft soul campfire. And we'll say replace. Replace is the default anyway, I believe, but I'm going to put it in there anyway. Now let's get the piece of paper and let's first of all stop its motion because it could keep traveling past it could land on the soul fire or the campfire, sorry, and keep going past. We don't want that. We're going to stop it and freeze it into the center of the campfire. So let's do data modify entity at S, and I'm going to modify its motion, and we'll set value. Have I put a capital M? It is capital M for motion. Yeah, and we'll set its value to, let's do 0.0f, 0.0f, 0.0f. So it's going to stop instantly. It's just going to stop as soon as it detects it's on the campfire. In which case I then want to move it to the middle of the campfire. So probably execute. We'll align it to the X and Z. So now it's going to be in the corner. And we'll run TP at S. So we'll add 0.5 to the X, and we'll add 0.5 to the Z. That's going to make it in the center. And I think we're probably safe just leaving its Y level the same, actually. Yeah, that'll probably be fine. We can do some testing. And let's have a particle. Some sort of lava splooshes. That'll do. Particle. I think it's just called lava, isn't it? Minecraft lava. At those coordinates. Let's have 0 on the X spread. Let's have 1 on the Y spread and 0 on the Z spread. We need a speed. Let's put that at 0 and a count. Let's say 20. Okay. So I think we can test that. So if we throw it on the fire, what are we going to see? Well, we should have a sound. We should have the campfire should change, and we should have some particles. Okay, let's try it. Reload. I picked up the campfire because it was making loads of noise. It was quite annoying. So let's do normal paper. Nothing. Cool. Have that back, please. Let's do a renamed piece of paper. Aha. Yeah, that looks alright. It's frozen in the middle. I can't pick it up now either. Okay. And our campfire's changed. Cool. Let's change the campfire. Let's get rid of that piece of paper. Okay. Nice. Let's go back. So process on paper on campfire is done. Yeah, so that's all we need to do for the paper. It should now be sitting on the campfire. It's got the coordinates stored in its name, or maybe it hasn't. It has just been renamed. Now, luckily, this is going to sort that out for us anyway. We don't have to worry about that. So let's go off to pre-teleport. Give fire resistance to any player close to the fire. That just seems nice since they're going to be jumping into a fire. So we'll do effect give at S fire resistance. Well, we don't want infinite. So we'll say 2 seconds has got to be enough to jump in the fire. Hide those particles. True. And now let's process players who actually go and step into the fire. Execute as all players whose distance equals, let's say, less than 0.2. So to get to pre-teleport, we are coming from tick. So let's look at that first. So execute any piece of paper tag in fire. Yeah. For all players who are within 1.5 blocks. Cool. That's going to give them the fire resistance. So we go off to pre-teleport. Pre-teleport, we give them fire resistance. Now, as they get closer, they're within 0.2 blocks, then we're going to teleport them. So we'll run function teleport. Save that. Okay, let's go into teleport. Effects at departure. Okay, so we'll just do function effects. Then we'll replace the campfire. We'll store the coordinates that are on the paper. Kill the paper. Teleport the player. So we want to kill the paper before we teleport the player, because otherwise the paper might not be in loaded chunks anymore. And then we want effects at the destination. So for effects at the destination, we're going to execute at S. Run function effects. So when this function is called, it's going to be running at the player. So this function here is okay. But it would still be running at the player's original location when it got here. So we have to update it with an execute at S. So we've got effects when we depart and effects when we arrive. Replace the campfire. Okay, we'll do execute align on the XYZ. We will run set block at those coordinates and we'll just set it back to an ordinary campfire. Now do notice that we're not changing its direction. Save that. Let's go and have a look at and see what I mean. So for instance, this campfire, the little logs are going that way. If I do that, the little logs are going that way. We could save the direction and then put it back over the top. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to keep this relatively simple. And I'm just going to have it just change. Let's go back. So we're not caring about the current direction of the campfire. Store the coordinates on the paper. Okay, so we're going to need to store the coordinates. So we need to store its name. Data, modify, storage, infernal device, temporary. And we'll store it. Coordinates seems like a good name. And we're going to do set string. Entity, the nearest, type equals item. Oh, my fingers went funny. Type equals item. We could put a tag on there as well. Tag equals in fire. And we want to check its item. And on the item, we want to check its components. For the components, well, if you name something in an anvil, it changes its custom name, not its item name. So we need to check for Minecraft custom name. We need to check for spelling mistakes. Okay. Now I'm going to leave it like that, and it's not going to work. And we'll come back and look at it in a minute and change it. Remove the paper. So we can just do kill entity type equals item. Are we saying nearest? Yeah, we're saying kill nearest entity. And we'll say tag equals in fire. And then we'll teleport the player. I'm not going to teleport the player yet. I am going to do a test on this, storing the coordinates. So let's save that and go and have a little test. Let's do a reload. Let's check on the renamed piece of paper. Doesn't have coordinates, just called renamed. Let's throw that on. Cool. And then we'll walk through because we want to be close. So the paper's gone. The campfire's turned back. Excellent. Let's do a data get on the storage. ID temp. Coordinates. Now if we look at that, we can see in green is what is stored, and it's stored speech marks, renamed speech marks. Now that is a problem, because if we get coordinates, put them in there, and we do a data get again, now we have speech marks 9565 speech marks. And if we try and do a teleport command, let's do a simple one here, teleport at S 9565, let's say, that's fine. But if I wrap that in speech marks, well, it's not actually complaining. Do you know what? I'm going to try that to see if that works. I've never tried it before. Oh, let's see what happens. So we could probably just use renamed because we've got hard-coded coordinates. No, didn't work. It's accepting it as an input, but it's not working. So if we take these speech marks off, now it's VS Code knows it's a location. Let's pop back in. Let's do a reload. Let's put in that renamed piece of paper. We teleported. Okay, so that worked without the speech marks. Now this is a long-winded way of just saying we need to remove the speech marks. So what we're getting from string is that. Now, nicely with string, we can have a start. Well, I'm going to say start at number 1. And we can have an end. Oh, I'm going to say -1. And what it's going to do is it's going to come along and it's going to go, well, you want me to start at 1, so I'll ignore the first character. And you want me to end at -1. Okay, I'll ignore the last character. And now we have nice clean coordinates. Okay, so let's just get rid of that teleport bit. Let's pop back. We'll do a reload. Jump in there. Well, let's put a piece of paper in there first. Let's just randomly throw ourselves in the fire. Okay, and let's do a coordinate. Let's do a data check. And we've lost the speech marks. Great. Okay. Right, we're not getting any effects. We'll do them later. Okay, we need to teleport the player. We know where the coordinates. We've got them stored in storage right here. Let's pass that to a function. Function teleport macro with storage ID temp. If I send storage ID temp, I will have access to coordinates inside teleport macro. Let's go to teleport macro. So normally we would just be doing teleport at S to 556.5. Let's macroify that. Let's say you will be using data that is passed to you, and the data you are going to be using will be coordinates. Okay, that seems all right. Let's save that. Let's do a reload. Let's throw in proper piece of paper. Okay, we're over here. That is, I'm assuming, 955.5. Okay, and we're going to 956, so that's right. Let's check in a renamed piece of paper. Okay, so it did teleport me, but the teleport command failed. So I suppose it's fair to say it didn't teleport me. So if you chuck in a renamed piece of paper that doesn't have valid coordinates, it's not going to do anything. But let's add the effects. And then at least it will go... Apparently that's what my effects sound like. Let's play a sound. If I type in play sound and we'll just go for teleport, we'll be able to find the entity teleport. Entity player teleport. We'll say that's a block as well. We'll pretend the campfire's doing it. We'll play it for all players at those coordinates. Volume, pitch of 1, and minimum volume of 0. And what particles? I always end up using the same ones. Reverse portal, isn't it? Reverse, there it is, reverse portal. We'll lift it up a bit though, so we'll say same X, same Y plus 1, same Z, 0.2 spread on the X. We want it to be a little bit taller though, so 0.4 on the Y, 0.2 on the Z. A speed, yeah, let's have a little bit of speed, 0.1. And how many particles? 20. Save. So, if you have an invalid coordinate, so like my piece of paper is just called renamed, it's going to do the effects, it's going to change the campfire anyway, it's going to store the word renamed, it's going to remove the paper, it's going to teleport us nowhere because the teleport command will fail, and then it will play effects. Okay, that's all right. Let's do a reload. So this is a bit nicer because it gives a little bit of feedback that something happened, and you go, oh, it didn't work. Oh, it's because I'm using renamed paper. It's got no proper coordinates. Here's some proper coordinates. Bomph, off I go. There we go. We now have a campfire that we can throw. Let's change the coordinates just to do a test. In you go. 5, let's change that to 25. Chuck a piece of paper onto any campfire and you can now teleport. Nice. Although I would say maybe we should do like checking the destination. If you do want to check the destination, you're going to have to make sure the chunks are loaded. So we're going to get a bit more complicated there. Yeah, you're going to have to say, are the chunks loaded? Okay, wait for the chunks to load. Right, the chunks are now loaded. Let's do a little check. Is there enough space for the player to stand in? Okay, yes, there is. Let's put the player there. And then you find out that they're in a bedrock box or something. Oh, gets complicated. Anyway, for now, we're going to leave that there. It's up to you. If this is the wizarding world, if you get it wrong, you know, dangerous things happen. It's true to law. Okay, so this is my basic example of Noel's idea. When I said before, Noel's idea, you have a doorway and you throw the paper into the doorway. and it teleports you to a destination. Now you can see at the moment, all you'd have to do is just change that campfire for a door. Job done. But if you want it to open a permanent portal, then we are going to have to load the chunks at the destination. We're going to have to create a doorway at the destination as well. And then we're going to have to somehow store the coordinates. So both the original door and the destination door will know where they're linked to. Ooh, it could get a bit more complicated. For now, we're leaving this here. I am waffling right on, aren't I? I will let you go. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you soon. Bye-bye.